Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to All India Runners Motivation. Today's a guest, if I may just put in proper way, there was once a story about a movie actor. I'm sure you would have heard by the name superstar Rajnikant, and he was asked the question: "Is there anything Rajni can't do?" And he said, of course, in his superstar style, there's nothing he can't do. Today's guest is someone who has been blessed with so much of talent. There is no game which requires endurance which he cannot do. And he has actually played a lot of different types of games till athletics called out to him, and especially running called out to him. It gives me great pleasure, pride, and privilege to introduce our guest for today. He is an Asian Games gold medalist, and he is a champion. He's an Arjuna Award winner, Padma Shri. He has been awarded the Padma Shri Award. He has also been. He is actually involved in sports from school, to the selection committee, current selection committee in athletics. It gives me great pleasure and pride and privilege to introduce today's guest, Mr. Charles Borromeo. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Rajesh. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Okay, so how is Bangalore weather nowadays?
Bangalore has been superb, and it has been a wonderful place to, post retirement to be in Bangalore. And my family, all my people are most very happy, and I'm glad that I've chose Bangalore to be, besides being a sporting city, a lot of sports events are taking place, and I can go for a long walk, jog, spend a lot of time, because the
Yeah.
weather is much better than I expected.
Okay, I'm sure Bangalore would hold a special place for you because all the national camps in those days was held in Bangalore, right? So the Bangalore was like for summer, and Patiala was for winter.
Yeah. See, Bangalore has been a special for many of our athletes. To be very, very honest with you, if we talk about Gurbachan Singh Randhawa, Sri Ram Singh, and my first AP Ramaswamy Memorial Athletic Invitation Championship, 1981 to be precise, was Bangalore Kandirva Stadium, and that was my after returning from Mexico, and I had come here, to participate. And that time Bangalore was, something much more, much different. It's like something like a Ooty or Kodaikanal or Shimla. But
Okay.
right now is more or less the same. Little warmness has come. A lot of populations. We have people.
Yeah.
Things have
So I mean, is it true that those times you never had a ceiling fan in Bangalore?
Yeah. See, even go back to 1990. I used to come for Vipro fitness program. One of my good friend was there. Suraj Prakash. Okay, and that is a time where I used to see a lot of people in the morning. It was a month of May. People used to come with a sweater and a lot of sweat jackets. Month of May, and the evening at about 4 o'clock, people used to come with the sweaters. So that was
Okay.
that was Bangalore. Even today,
Okay.
I can't complain, and I'm very happy.
Okay. We got a few people who are tuned in. We have a very close friend of yours, I think, Simon D'Souza, sir, from Mumbai.
Yes,
And he was in Southern Railways. He is tuned in. He's coming and saying hello to you.
hello,
So
Simon. Yeah.
yeah. So and I got Deepen from Darjeeling, who is tuned in, is also saying hello to you. He's actually a runner who does half marathons and 10Ks. So he has also tuned in. Nice that you're enjoying the weather in Bangalore. I must ask you this: you come from a place called Devakote, and Devakote is known for athletes. You are, in fact, there's an athlete before you also who was won Asian Games. So, what is this special, about Devakote, which brings athletes from that place?
Okay. Rajesh, thank you so much. First, I must compliment you and your team for giving us such an opportunity to motivate the younger generation. And you and your team are doing a wonderful work, and also reaching out to people to be a part of runners to be a health awareness program. And before I start these, say something about Devakote or about my life, I would just pay my simple, humble tribute to all the sports persons, all the Indians, and all the people who lost their life due to Corona. And many of my good friends in sports fraternity, and many of educationists, doctors, many people who passed away. Me and my family, we really tribute our condolences to the family, and we always remember in our prayer, so that these things is one of such a difficult time which will pass through, and nobody can substitute the people whom we lost. So my deepest condolences and my special prayer all the sports person of India particularly, and so that their family members, they overcome the difficulties. The second important thing that before I start, I want to wish through your you know runners motivation program, I want to wish our Indian team who are going to participate, and I put it on record saying that, complimenting Adil Sumariwala and the entire team, this is the best Olympic team that I have ever seen. Many people are qualified, and we aspire to be a medalist, a first time in the medalist. Maybe that we started in 1920, first time in 200 meters and other things, and now we are almost 2021, 100 years ago, and 100 years. So I compliment, my best wishes. We all Indians waiting for that one medal to come, because I was a part of the Indian team. I was the Indian team captain 1984 when PT Usha missed 1/100th of the second of the third place. Okay. Having said that, compliment to the coaches and the federation and the Indian government and IOA. Thank you, and God bless all of them for a better performance. Coming to Devakote, Rajesh, Devakote has been one of the special place in Tamil Nadu. As you said that before I could start, before me, who was the runner and other thing, it was our 𝐻𝑖𝑠 𝐴𝑐ℎ𝑖𝑒𝑣𝑒_N𝑡_s. 1978 Asian Games, he won a 100-meter silver medal and 200-meter gold medal, and thereon. Why this place called Devakote or Karaikudi in these areas? Why sportsmen are so many talented sportsmen coming because there's a one we call those days called Manjurutu, which nowadays we call Jallikattu. Okay. This was very familiar there, and many of the schools, I again repeat, Rajesh, many of the schools curricular program, sports is a part of life. Okay, there was a lot of competitions between and within, and thereafter, the physical directors, the PT teachers, who are personally committed to make the sportsmen, to excel in the field of sports, and also with the education, with a lot of missionaries. And also, particularly I studied in my elementary school, Thiruvalluvar school in Devakote, where there was no ground at all. But the management was so keen that when we talk about sports and other things, they encouraged to do that. That is the reason why Devakote plays a very important role. We can talk about almost 10, 12 international sports persons, who come from in and around of Devakote.
Okay. At that point of time, you're part of the school. Actually, you are part of two schools. You got Debrito higher secondary school, and you also had the Mutatal middle school. So correct. Tell us about the life at that time. I hope my pronunciation was correct on Mutatal. So
actually, it is a Thiruvalluvar elementary school. Mutata was the management and other thing. But I studied for one or 2 years there, up to 5th standard. 6th standard onwards, I went to Debrito school as a hostelite. We call it boarding person. Okay. Although I was in Devakote, my family is a slightly bigger family. We are 5 brothers and 3 sisters. So I had to take some decision to go out and study, because to be very honest with you, Rajesh, I was interested in studies. I mean, for a change, many of my father was encouraging, and overall, even today I remember, if I am what I am today, because my mother dreamt that I should become a sportsman. Any annual sports meet, she used to come, sit there, watch, give us a lot of eatables, and go back, if possible, take us home and give us a good homely food, etc., etc. Therefore, Deep into School has been encouraging sportsmen. Okay, and also we had, I mean, Rajesh, we believe it or not, we had more than 32 hockey grounds outside this one. It was in a lease land area where all of us were compelled to play one game between 4:15 to 5:30, and that was a
32.
32
My
hockey
God.
grounds, football grounds, kabaddi grounds, basketball court, volleyball court, and in between we have athletic ground. Okay, that time there was not specified to be athletic ground. You have two football ground, or merge, if you do it, and that become an athletic ground. So we always start from a season wise. Initially we start with the football. After football it comes to basketball or volleyball or hockey, then we go into athletics. Okay, so it's a bunch of people we've been coached. Okay, those days the coaches were not so professional. Okay, but they were dedicated, but they committed. If you're good, and they used to get a lot of facility from the management, and we used to get eggs and milk and extra diet for anybody who required another thing. And that was a commitment from physical education. My PT teacher, one person, if I name it right, late 𝐻𝑖𝑠 sir. Okay, we call him Ayya because nobody can call him. Everybody used to call him Ayya because that's a respected this one, because he used to commit himself. His family, which is his first family, he says, my Deep into School sports team is the first family. His family at his own place, they always say, he doesn't spend some time with the family and other. That is the commitment that he had. So this was this one. I somewhere around 9th standard or 10th standard, I ran a 400 meters and in the school competitions and in the district competitions, where I could find myself slightly a talented boy. I mean, to be very honest with you, if we go through my biography and I think I wanted to become a real footballer, okay, and a soccer player, because I was a left outer, running very well, and I had a lot of endurance by inbuilt. That's a nature, okay, talent we call it, and I think so. That is the way things were moved in. But I was not an outstanding athlete. I was an outstanding football player, volleyball player, and a basketball player when I was in the school. Okay. Thereafter, when I moved from Devakotai to Gujarat St. Xavier's College on a scholarship, where people wonder that why from Tamil Nadu to move, because there were a lot of scholarships were available, because my family, to be very honest with you, could not afford to do to further educate me higher colleges like St. Joseph at Trichinopoli or Loyola at Chennai, or American College at Madurai, etc., all of them. But this college, St. Xavier's, came out with some offer for sports persons and other thing, and I was taken in. It was a biggest risk and biggest challenge that I gave a shock of my life to my parents and my relatives, that I'm going another 2 days down the line, and that's a decision where my family supported me. Yes, if you're going for a good, go ahead. That's it.
Okay. So, I mean, at that point of time, you also represented your school for inter-school games in football and volleyball and basketball, right?
Yeah. See, schools, what happened is, once you are talented, you see, out of the 1,500 or 1,000 students, there are few talented students. Okay, if I remember some of the before me, there was a very good, outstanding sportsman, very stylish, and we used to see him, the amount of practice he used to do. So we wanted to practice. So how do we practice? First, we go for football. After football, we go and play basketball. After basketball, we come back to athletics. Then those who have a good endurance, okay, the coach says, okay, this guy is good, okay, and he gives a little bit of sharpening exercise. To be very honest with you, it's not a talent identification, which nowadays we call it, but it is called, the commitment from a student. Okay, because see, I enjoyed playing after football, volleyball, basketball, and athletics. Even we have played, kabaddi. Okay, and one of the days, the Thursdays used to be in a gardening day. We used to walk around 200, 1.5 kilometer to go and do the gardening work, and that is one of the part of a, sports curriculum. Okay, so like that I represented this on my school and my inter-school competition, state level school competition, and I did not go beyond that. Okay.
Okay. So from Tamil Nadu to Gujarat, from speaking Tamil to knowing and understanding Gujarati and a bit of Hindi, how did you manage this shift going to St. Xavier's College, especially in the language front?
Only few days ago, I was sharing with my daughter, okay, who is here with me, and I think that the amount of time that I wanted to come out from Ahmedabad to come back to Tamil Nadu to because of the language problem and because of the food problem. Okay, in 1974, except Tamil, none of the other language I knew. English, no way. Gujarati, out of the question. But my friends there and my principals and this one was called. I would like to remember the Joe Braganza and Francis Braganza. This my vice principal and other thing. They are the people who made me seeing my good talent in football. Okay, they said, okay, here you can learn English. You can come. Don't worry, English is not a barrier for you, but your talent is good, and they encourage me to do that. Okay, many times I tried to run away from Ahmedabad to Tamil Nadu, so that my language was a bad thing, and but it took only 3 months. As 3 months passed by, then I could settle myself. Then I accepted the challenges. Difficult time, because the food was not, the South Indian food, more of a carbohydrate, like rice and sambar and rasam and other thing. That's why you go for the dal, which chapati, all these things. Makes the things little difficult. But it took us some time. And in between we fell sick. Besides homesick, is also health concern and other thing. And that's the time where I started having my spectacles and other thing.
Okay. So I mean, St. Xavier's College is is as a college where I think your athletics career really took off, and you were into running. So tell us a bit about how did that college? What are the facilities available at that college, and also who were the first few people who actually spotted that talent in you and suggested your shift from your favorite sport of football to athletics, which would have been a different shift altogether?
Yes, it's a very good question, Rajesh. See, first and foremost, the person who really spotted my talent is my first coach, called Coach Subhash Patel, who was one of the NIS qualified coach then, who was a decathlete, but he couldn't move from state to national because he had many other. He was only son and other thing, but he used to sponsor us. He used to come and watch us. Okay. So when I was playing left out in the football field, okay, and I had a fan followers, this all these my in and around of my college, the people used to follow because I was typically I was their color. My color of the skin is black, and all of them are there. So there was a great follower I had. It's because of my scoring ability in converting the pass into the scoring ability. And that is the way. But later on, as the football was going through, I had a knee problem. I developed a knee problem, and that is the time the knee problem started. Then thereafter, my coach said, "See, by then I come into the second year BA." Okay, he said, "See, you have to concentrate on one game. Don't waste your talent." While college, universities, I must compliment Gujarat University also, supported me for various sports programs. Wherever I've been selected to go, they have given me leave to go. Okay, but my professors were so kind enough thereafter take some of my classes. Okay, so that I could maintain, just above, first division that we call the 60%. Okay, I could maintain because of my professors used to there are when I missed classes, they used to come and help me to understand the subject well. Okay, so Rajesh, I have also studied Sanskrit. Okay, because that is
Okay.
Gujarati to Sanskrit to English, or so on. So but it was a compulsory subject for this one. So but many people have helped me. So
Very good.
spotted talent. Besides the St. Xavier's College, management supported me for free lodging and boarding and other things. Gujarat University, Subhash Patel is a person who really trained me. He used to take me in his scooter. Those days he used to have a Chetak scooter. He used to take me from my college to the university ground. There I used to be trained, and I used to run, and that's a beauty. I used to run. He used to hire a cycle. He used to go 200 meters repetition, so that the endurance type of the. I did it in 1978 in a cinder track. Okay, every time, and every time, Rajesh, as when a sportsman goes all out, we used to vomit. Whenever we have a speed training or endurance training, after the endurance 1.5 hours of training, I used to be flat because my diet was not so good. Okay, it is a hostel food. I mean, nothing to complain about. But believe it or not, my coach Subhash Patel used to take me to his house, give me a cup of chai and chana chor. Okay. And that really refreshed me, because with his family's affection and everything, then we come back, and he used to leave me. And it is not 1 or 2 days, it's 2 years, continuously did it. And he also did it for others. That is the reason the second year BA, I started focusing towards athletics. Why it is for an 800 meter? I was good in. See, when I started doing inter college or in the universities, I used to do high jump, pole vault, 100 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, 15, because it's a college championship at stake. So I used to run. So that time but as I came closer to my Subhash Patel, maybe we used to discuss, and after every time when he used to give me some training in the morning, okay, and I used to religiously do. He used to give me 5 kilometer, you run and come back and other things. So the early morning, because my college starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, so that is the way. But he spotted me. He said, "You will be a better off in 800 meters." And I did not have that temperament. I mean, I must commit, because many of the good sportsmen are listening to this. I did not have the absolutely temperament for 1500 meters. I had a good temperament for 400 and 800 because I was a speed endurance runner.
Okay.
That's the way I stick to 800 meters.
Very good. When you spoke about Subhash Patel giving food to you, I had the privilege of interviewing, one of the runners, Gurumurthy Naik from Bombay University, and he was telling the same thing about Simon D'Souza sir. So,
Oh, yeah.
Simon D'Souza sir also used to give money to people, to his athletes, give them dry fruits and everything, so whenever. So he used to treat them and give money from his pocket for them to, go and participate in events. So I think the coaches, I've heard about a lot of coaches in my past 1 year of interviewing, and I think there is one thing very common with coaches is that they leave everything and they're so committed to the athlete, but they don't get much in return, in the sense like, there's hardly any recognition. The athlete might go forward in their life, but for the coach would remain there only in many ways. The only satisfaction he might get is training the athlete who might achieve. And that is such a selfless service, I must say, because spending money from their own pocket, So I think I heard the same thing about Frank Alfonso sir also, standing in the rain with an umbrella. 𝐻𝑖𝐧𝐿 Sandhu sir also. All coaches standing and asking the athlete, why didn't you come for training yesterday? So they were so committed. I think there's something similar to what you're told about Mr. Subhash Patel.
In addition to the Subhai, what are the names that you have taken? I must also put it on record. 𝐾𝐬𝐢𝐚, who taught us what is a discipline all about. If he says 210, that you have to start that 200-meter repetition, he is there at 205. If we are late, we miss that 200-meter time trial. And that is and after that he used to even he used to give us all type of vocabularies and other thing. That time he used to hurt us. But later on, we realized today why I am a disciplined person as far the time management is concerned. Because my coach, my coach Kenny Boson, okay, was a Donachari Award winner, and who used to commit himself to come there in time, and also help us there after the time trial is over. He will give us a juice. See, once you are exhausted, what do you want? You want a you want a glucose water or something, or a limbu. I mean, I'm talking about those days of, that is a nutrition that we used to have, recover it and other thing. And that was this one. Another great person who made commitment. I know you have interviewed this one, Sri Ram Singh sir, and I salute him, because when I broke his record, he was the first person to congratulate me at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, because he was very happy that I broke his record. Okay. The person who I want to talk about, late Ilyas Babar. Babar Saab never had his own money with him. Every money was for sportsmen. Family was big enough, 11 children. He never bothered. Movement for his first love children are sportsmen. Moment anybody asks, he will give whatever available there with him. See, these are the commitment. Even today also we have a lot more coaches. I mean, I'm interacting with them. A lot of coaches are giving their best. Now the recognized are there, and they are being recognized, and still more to come.
Okay. So, I mean, it's nice to hear about the coaches, and you said about the support by Gujarat University, and your performance in the inter university actually earned you the place for the World University Games, being the first athlete. In 1979 you went there. Was that your first foreign trip?
100%. That was my first foreign trip. I finished my college month of April, my final year, and before I could finish because of my college management made me to sit down properly and write the exam. Okay, because why I'm saying, for 79 March we had a national games at Hyderabad. I wanted to go, but my principal said, please don't go. Okay, and because you have to attend the exams. Okay, and that paid me. After my exams are over, when I was moving to national camp for the All India Inter University Open National and other things, where I was one of the fortune athlete. As I could finish my graduation before the results, I had four different companies offered me job. Okay, that is the greatness of my coach Subhash Patel. Okay, because of sports, for when IPCL, Western Railway, Telco, Tisco, CRPF, all of them were at the doorstep. You come and join us and other things. Okay? So that is why I'm saying sports made me what I am today. And of course, these coaches and college management, some of the people, I can never forget the moment I came up to the level of university level. Mr. Jaideep Singh Baria, Raja of Baria, that man who really promoted athletics. Those days, promoting athletics was rarest of rare, because the people were promoting at Kerala, Tamil Nadu, or Karnataka, and I think Gujarat and all, basically it is either cricket or basketball, because the tallest man in India, Kirti Bai was there. So that was but this Jaideep Singh Baria have promoted. Today, I tribute and I give salute all the support that he has given me, because without him, I would not be possible, because my coach and we were traveling quite a lot, a bus, a train, and I think he's the man who sponsored us. He used to take us to Devgat Baria for coaching camp, and the evenings, in Gujarat, mostly we have a vegetarian food, and he knows that the sportsmen like non-vegetarian food, and it gives them a little more energy. He used to take us to every second day to his palace, make them to sit in his Raja's table, eat with us. And that is, and we really used to, because that time I didn't know how to eat with a fork or spoon or something. It's a hand. I mean, Raja, better, those days,
Yeah.
These are the things that happen. So these are the people, lot more made the commitment and made us what we are today.
Right. So, how was your trip to Mexico? And you were the first person to from India in the World University Games to run in the final. So, tell us about that trip, and how did it feel traveling to Mexico?
See, the trip was very exacting. I mean, very, very, excellent trip. Okay, but it's the longest trip because because for people like us, I never sat in the aeroplane, till 79, say September or something. Okay, or September 3rd to be precise. We were put in the train, a flight. So that's a flight we took from here to New York, New York to Mexico, and it was the longest flight ever. This one, so we reached there. As soon as we reached there, our luggage did not come because between one flight from New York, Bombay to New York, New York to this one Mexico. Okay, in between they couldn't offload our luggage and everything, but managed to keep up some of the good well wishers in Mexico, and we could focus towards our athletics and tennis and other people. So, and I first time, I mean that's the first time I was running at the international level. Okay, so the first heat went up very well. I came first. Second heat, because those days we used to have a three heats before the final, two heats, semi-final and final. In the by then, when the semi-final came, Rajesh, I was over exhausted. But having said that, the temperature there was somewhere around 14 to 15 degree, and I never used to it because in Patiala we used to be in the summer camp and other things. So, but that really so. But really, what helped me was the liquid diets, juice. Okay, and we used to have another thing. That's the time I must confess to you. First time I met Sebastian Coe. If you see that
Okay.
race, 1979, he was the first time he won an international competition, World University Games. He came first, and I came seventh. Okay, but of course, after the greatest thing about Sebastian Coe, I mean, I met him several times. We'll talk about it later also. He came and congratulated me because I set up the pace. Those days, the videography or for video analysis was not there. So I had to go. I had nothing to lose. My coach, Sandhu, used to tell me, see, now you reached the final. You are the first Indian to reach the final. Do what you want. Okay. And I
Okay.
did not have any clue how to run, to be very honest with you. Yes, had a nice sleep. My roommate Timaya was a 400-meter runner. All the support we used to get it and other thing. Adun Sumariwala was with me. Okay, so when I reached the final, I ran almost 650-meter all out. Thereafter, it is just a carry forward. Okay,
Okay.
six 650 meters was I was within that 1, 2, 3, 4 bunch. Okay. Thereafter, I faded, and then I completed the race. Okay, and I was seventh in the race. And when I finished and came back, the timing was not so bad. Okay, timing was 149 or something. 148 something was won by Sebastian Coe. He returned, come back. He said that he congratulated me. I didn't know why he was congratulating me. So because I was supposed to take a picture with him, and he said because you set a pace that suited me and other thing. And that was the first of this one. And I guess that trip made me to challenge myself that I have to do something for India, which I couldn't win here, but I must do something better years to come. And that was the reason that I came back, joined Tata Steel, and trained under Mr. Bosen, and thereafter, we can talk about it as things progress. So Mexico is a beautiful city and wonderful program for the India University, and my university, All India University, people are very much happy that people like us we reached the final, could do something better than the best.
Okay. So I mean, that's nice. I mean, Sebastian Coe, coming and congratulating you and telling you that okay, you set the pace for him, which is so nice of him. It's also a hallmark of a good athlete, of coming back and waiting and telling the person who set the pace, thank you. It's a quality of only great athletes, I think. So it's something which talks about how good he is actually as a person also. So you said you did not know about much about the 800 meters running, but I think over a period of time, you learned about it and you did extremely well. So if you can just tell us the audience a bit about technicalities of running an 800 meters. If anyone wants to run a good 800 meters, what are the things you would look at? Because I mean, as I understand from reading about it, it goes in batches. So you got 100, 150 meters, 150 meters, It goes in batches of 50 meters. But if you can just tell the audience the technicalities of running a 800 meters.
See, Rajesh, it's a very good question. I can really put across my viewpoint of view, and there are many people who have a technical knowledge and other things. My technical issue, 800 meters is a speed endurance game. You cannot wait for somebody to make a judgment. You have to make a judgment. If you see my 1982, I know Rajesh will show a little later on my 82 Asian Games. I was fully prepared to burst any time that I can do it, because that's a reserving energy till the last. So basically, we need to plan our race. Before planning, we need to be 100% speed endurance at the peak, any of the competition that one. How do we do that? We need to do lot of repetition of 200 meters, 300 meters, 600 meters, 1000 meters. As come to the 800 meters race, it is first 120 meters when you are running on your own lane. You have to make your own judgment to see who is going to be the leading runner, and the leading runner, what pace he is setting. Is he setting a pace which is convenient to me, or do I have to set up a pace for myself, or I simply follow to keep a energy? Basically, many of our Indians, including me, I am a follow runners. I am not a leading runner. Okay, the follow runners will have to keep yourself natural climatic conditions in the air and other thing little away, and keep moving, and keep move to the pace that you are not tired. You have to tell to yourself that I am not tired, this is my pace. If the pace is suiting you up to 500 meters, okay, that is the time where you need to make your own right judgment, saying that yes, this pace is right and I can run better. Then you from the follow of running, you have to move towards leading runners. At that time, some of the dark horses will come up to 600 meters and 650 meters. Don't bother, because you have to sustain and excel in your this one. That we call it after 550 meters or something, or almost 550 to 600 meters. You need to start what is known as an acceleration run. So far, what you have followed is a follow-up run, and you had a reserve of all the energies, all the bunches are gone. Now it's the main runners who are going to compete within your this one. After 650 to 700 meters, it is only the burst, and it is only your running action, and move forward to motivate yourself that I can win. That's the way many of the international competition that I won, because whenever I used to go to Germany or Kenya or USA before the major competition, there was nobody to support you. It is you who have to plan. That is the way that I would like to come to you, Rajesh, later on, how a mind training for mid-distance runners helps you to hit the target. That is the way I always plan my race. First, I follow the runners. After that, I become a leading runner and burst out after 650 meters. Thereafter, whatever the energy there left, and we finish the race. And what is more important is it's important is how to win. The second important thing is the timing, because one race is over, the next race is you have to be prepared to yourself. So you have to relax and get back to that.
Okay. Thank you very much for your insight on the 800 meters running, and I'm sure it will be helpful to a lot of athletes when they train. When it comes to 800 meters, legendary status is one person whose record was not broken for many years, Sriram Singh sir. So I also know that you had met a researcher who did a PhD research project on Sriram Singh sir. So tell us about your association with him, and what are the things you got to know about him or learned from him from the association with him, sir.
It's a very nice question. It's the first time I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to speak from my heart. 1976, when Sriram sir was given an Arjun Award, I was listening to the radio in my college days. Okay. And because that's the time I started 76, 77. I think I started my running. So in my mind, I put up my this one. Why can't I win a Arjuna Award? It's a dream. It's one of the dream. But I said that when people like Sri Ram Singh, and of course Sri Ram Singh won a gold medal 1974, 75 Asian track and field. So he was given an Arjuna Award, and I think so. It went into my mind. It went into the mind like anybody who goes that I want to become a champion. Okay. So thereafter, I said that when I was pursuing the sports, and after 78, after 76 at Montreal, when he stood seventh, then 1978, he also participated in the Asian Games. Thereafter 79, I was also trained with him. He was also one of the participants for the Asian track and field meet at Tokyo. Okay. So man who was at the declining stage, but there were a lot of people who were coming up. Mr. A. Rajan, Sant Kumar, myself, so many people were coming up and other things. But I saw him, the amount of hard work he used to put. Ilyas Babar used to give us a training program, and people, college people like us, never used to sustain. But services people used to really sustain. And I adopted that his hard work. So whenever he used to give me any schedule for 1982 Asian Games, he was also one of our coaches for the ladies 800 meters, where Geeta Joshi was produced by him. And he used to motivate us, and he used to tell us when I start riding sub 150, he used to come to our room, motivate us, or in a colloquial way, be a friend to us. And that's a time where I set a target, motivating, where I remember some of my psychologists, professors who used to teach me, if your mind is well set and your physical, you will bound to do it. That was told to me by Father Joseph Arroyo, was my psychology student, and thereafter XLRA used to be motivated. Every day he used to run. He used to write a letter to me saying that Asian Games been held in India. If you win, you will be remembered forever. If you create a Asian Games record, which is within your reach, you are the champion. So these are some of the motivations. So my mind training, I was the first one to have a mind training. The other one is, Rajesh, you may remember, some of the coaches at the Calicut University, 𝐻𝑖𝑠
Yes.
the greatest person who taught me how to do a contrast bath. Okay. Hot and cold format, to prepare yourself for this. These two, mind training, contrast bath, to prepare yourself before the competition. And mostly I am very positive. Any competition I will go. See, if you name, I know you can mention around 25, 30, 40 competitions I won. Okay. But more than 400 competitions I lost, because my mind was strong, and I never lost my coolness, but I learned from my mistakes, where the areas that I could not win. That's the time where Sri Ram sir used to come and support us. Today, why you did not win the time trial? Because you did not plan your race. Okay, it's a mind training, planning your race, and be yourself. These are the things Sri Ram used to tell us, and he used to be a great friend to us. See, today, many of the coaches are friends to their athletes. Those days, we had a very few friends. Sri Ram sir was one. Joginder Singh Saini was the other. These people can make your life so easy, so comfortable, with a cup of tea, with a glass of milk. In Patiala, we say, lassi a glass of lassi will make all the changes in life. Subject, you are a hard worker. So I had a bunch of people, Rajesh, called, I can remember that. I know some of them you know very well. Sri Ram, Sivanath Singh, Harichand, all these people are great people to, running with them. When we had a 82 Asian game, we had a Harichand, we had Sri Ram Singh, we have Sivanath Singh, we have Gopal Saini. They used to run. So we used to be behind them. Because for the stamina and endurance, who can be better than, they are the leaders, we are the followers.
Okay.
And I used to benefit from them, saying that, because and they used to get fed up with me. in Hindi, if I say, "Arey, ye ladka हमको पीछे नहीं छोड़ता है." Okay. I never used to, used to leave them. And
Okay.
many of our middle distance runners used to, slowly fade away. I used to die at the Patiala, NIS lawn when all the, my short pant and my bunion fully sweat and wet. And after that, we did not have a proper shoes also those days. But we had whatever shoes available, we used to run. See, I used to admire Simnath Singh. He used to run barefoot, Rajesh. Till 1990 to 1980, he used to run a marathon barefoot. You remember that? I know when he set a record in Jalandhar in 1978, 2 minutes 11 seconds, he ran a barefoot.
In peak summer. In peak summer.
Peak summer.
I mean, yeah, peak
So
summer.
this is the way I remember.
That is something which people do not mention. That it was actually summer and it was very hot.
It was
Punjab is very hot.
month of May. To be very honest with you, I attended the Jalandhar meet with the All India Inter-University meet to see only two people. Rajesh, I must compliment. I must tell you this. On 5th May, I lost my mother, but by then I could get my message from my hometown. It used to come in telegraph, and I was traveling. I just wanted to see two people. A.P. Ramaswamy. I don't know whether you remember him. Okay.
Yeah.
For the
100 meters champion.
greatest stylish 100-meter champion, from Bangalore. Okay. I wanted to see him, how he's running. Gyanasekaran was there. Natarajan was there. So many other people were there. I wanted to see Simnath Singh. Man who ran 5,000 meter, 10,000 meter, and marathon. And marathon, he sets a world, Indian record, 2 minutes 11 seconds. And we used to take a cycle and go to and see how he's running. And believe it or not, today I put it on record. Sivnath used to beat the cycle after 30 kilometers. We used to, that's a speed he used to maintain, another thing. So that is the reason today I remember A.P. Ramaswamy was a great athlete, and Sivnath Singh who have been this one. These are the people who said that hard work will always pay you. Okay. When I met Indira Gandhi madam, my prime minister there said, I'm taking these Asian Games because she won in 1980. The first decision she has to take to choose to host the 1982 Asian Games. She came to Patiala. I am going to, host the 1982 Asian Games. You all be a part of it. Okay. A great lady who have visualized, and she gave us all the facilities possible. The first
1992 was a change in the menu items in Patiala, right? After she came, so
correct.
The limit of two chicken pieces went away, and you were given food food was actually available a lot more.
Absolutely.
After she came and saw the hostel facilities.
Yeah, whenever we used to be in there, either Bhutta Singh or V.C. Shukla or many other big dignitary, Raja Balwinder Singh, IOA president, or Mrs. Gandhi personally, because that time we didn't know much about Rajiv Gandhi or Sanjay Gandhi and other. They all used to come, and we used to have a gala time because when they come, we get unlimited chicken. So
Yes.
that is but they used to really interact with us and motivate us.
Okay. So let's come to 1982. 1982 when you look at 1982, I mean, the year was fantastic year for you. So when I look at your records, 11 medals, international, which you won actually during that time. Tell us what was so different about 1982, which made you, do so well. Change in diet. What was that you did in 1982, which made it so well?
See, it is not change in diet; it's a mindset. Because see, what happened is sometimes when the good things going to happen, everything falls in line. I completed my graduation, and my college management said that if you have to be a roamber, you will be roamber forever, because you have to set your mindset correct. So I could say that because of my mind training by my psychology professor, Father Joseph Hareo, and the physical training by the Subhash Patel and Kenny Boson. Okay, and most important thing is I never used to lose to go bad, used to feel bad that just because I lost many races. I lost in Ujjain. I won it in Trichur, and Trichur was the greatest place that I could ever remember, because when I ran the race in the university, when I set the meet record, that's the time the people were following me. 1982 again, interstate meet at Calicut, and the entire stadium was packed with the paid galleries, paid spectators, and that is a time when I could say that, yeah, this is the right time that I am shaping up towards that. So when I became a national champion 1982 in January, thereafter I never looked back. I went for the Pakistan national games, where I met then the president of Pakistan, this one, because he wanted to Pakistan to win, Pakistan athlete to win. When I beat him, when I beat one of the captains of the Pakistan army, so he couldn't 𝐻𝑖𝑠 𝐴𝑐ℎ, he couldn't see a Pakistan athlete losing. It was a very tight neck to neck competition, but I won it. What they did was very unique thing. We both got gold medal. Two of us got gold medal, and thereafter in the evening, he gave me a very personal gift by accepting that two people can stand in one podium as a gold medal, because he could not stand. So Pakistan was the greatest. The national games was the greatest. Running towards my Asian games. Thereafter, few competitions like in China or in Japan, many of the competitions. The most of the competitions, the most important competitions in month of July, August, September, where I followed at Germany, was a very important one, where I met again the three legends of the middle distance.
The three
Sebastian
S's.
three S's. Sebastian Coe, Steve Ovett, and Steve Cram. Okay, I don't know whether you remember him.
Yes.
The greatest people, they used to run in the Frankfurt main stadium. We also used to be a part of that. And every weekend on either Friday or Saturday, we have a competition. And these competitions, Rajesh, it's somewhere around 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The temperature is around 7 degrees. Okay. And we used to shiver. And that's the time Sebastian Coe used to come and share some of his clothes with us. Okay, I must compliment that also, because these are the areas, many places, and we used to sustain that temperament. Okay,
Okay.
and as we come closer to the national games in month of September, when we came back from Germany, so where the national games was held, I set a national games record. The first national, at Delhi it was held. It was called a trial games for the Asian Games, and thereafter I never looked back. When I qualified, then I was the first Indian, first Asian to run below 1 minute 48 seconds, and I think, in Indian soil. Then things were what I wanted to mention here. In between, if you go back to the history, in between, after my final trials at the for the Asian Games, before the Asian Games was the 1982 Commonwealth Games, where I was too keen to go, but Mr. Jagdish Singh Bharia, Vice President AFI, he said, please don't go, you concentrate here, because there if you go, you lose 10 to 15 days of competition, and you guys will go and you will miss a lot of training and other things. And I missed the Commonwealth Games. Even today I say that I would have been happier, I represent the Commonwealth Games, but I never represented the Commonwealth Games because I had to forgo Commonwealth Games. But that forgo at the Commonwealth Games, it was paid me well, because of the continuous good endurance training by 𝐻𝑖𝑠 𝐴𝑐ℎ 𝐼𝐧𝐝, a chief coach of Indian athletics, a Dronacharya award winner, personal friend of us, personal friend of anybody. After we do well in our training program, we used to ask, Kosab, have I done well? He said, yes, you have done very well. So this means that we can go back to his house. His wife will give us a lychee drink.
Okay.
Very, very so that I used to get the maximum benefit of good training under him. And thereafter we used to walk down to his house, get a lychee drink, then come back, and that lychee drink, one side is energy, the other side was he used to give us a lot of pet talks, how we have to be a winner in the 1982 Asian Games and everything. and that used to be very important. And that is with a positive note I entered into this one. In between, I did have some injuries. Okay, after the national final trials and before the Asian Games, I did have muscular injury. But my coach gave me such a wonderful rehabilitation training program with Dr. Ashok Ahuja and other people. So they made me what a champion can do, because I never lost hope. I had concentrated. I am a typical religious fellow, faith in God. And then what happened was, continuously I was concentrating. My other distractions never able to distract my focus towards my Asian Games. And that was the reason when 25th November, when the athletic event took place quietly, and 26th when I won the medal, where Indira Gandhi and M.G. Ramachandran and Jayalalitha madam were there to witness this one, where Bhutta Singh was our president of this one, which made me too happy. And that's the reason, one of the reasons, that when I broke the Sri Ram Singh's record, and Sri Ram Singh came jumping from the gallery, oh, you kept your promise that you've broken my record. Because again, come back to the basic. When I was training at Patiala, in my room, I used to put up the target of my timing. I will run 1 minute 47 seconds below. In all 4 sites, I used to write, and I used to run more than 20 times every day in my mind while I'm resting during the competition. Many of my friends used to come and tear it off. How can an Indian can run below 1 minute 47 seconds and other thing? But when they're tearing it off, I never got angry, because they did it what they thought the right. And I did it again. I used to tear off a paper. I will run 1 minute below 1 minute 47 seconds, because that was a record that I wanted to create. When I ran 1982 on 26 November, I saw that the record was broken with 1 minute 46.81 seconds. Okay, then I said, see, that my motivation, I kept my promise to myself. So that is the time I felt happy about it.
Okay. Let's quickly revisit that glorious moment of yours of Asian Games. So just give me a minute.
So the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium entered the second day with several heats and 6 finals being worked out. This was the first of the finals, the 800 meters men. All eyes set on Charles Borromeo running in lane 7 and Palayan Charala Virat running in lane 1. They're just taking the bend, keeping to their lanes, but once they come to the back straight, they will go for the inside of the track. In the earlier lap, but here in the last lap of the race, coming to the final bend, Charles Borromeo getting past the Iraqi and with the Korean just behind them. But it's Charles Borromeo putting in a tremendous spurt in the last few 50 meters. Borromeo increasing his lead with a fantastic finish and looks all set to come within the Asian record. Charles Borromeo of India coming in amidst the applause, winning, and the Korean.
So it was amazing to see that race. So I just want to ask you that where did you get this supreme power to in the last 50 meters? What were the things you did to develop that amount of speed which helped you to take off in the last 50 meters?
This is a very good question. I'm going to tell the truth from you. The crowd that day on 26 November, the crowd came almost 70 to 80,000 people were there to witness Geeta Joshi's race, including Indira Gandhi madam. I mean, she came to see the race, of course, and she particularly wanted to see, because Geeta Joshi was a silver medalist in 1978. Okay, and the whole being a North Indian and being a very popular girl, and people came to see how Geeta Joshi. So benefit of the doubt came to me. The 70 to 80,000 people were cheering me up. When I could see a lot of people are cheering me up, and I have nothing to lose. Every time, every step that I kept forward, the step was for my country. The step was for the people who made me to work. So I was not feeling tired at all. You may see that although I have accelerated, like you may go back to my this one acceleration run at the last 150 meters is the key to success. That's the thing that I learned from Sebastian Coe. Steve Cram we used to interact over a dinner. They used to talk about it. So the 82 Asian Games, the last 70 to 80 meter, Iraqi was the favorite. Korean were the challenger. Charles Borromeo was a dark horse. Okay. So when I moved after 600 meters, when I saw the timing was within the capable time of 1 minute 16 seconds, when I hit the 1 minute 17.2 seconds in 600 meters, I said that I'm still fresh to run another 200 meters. Then when it came to 150 meters, then I was confident that I thereafter it's the burst, it's the acceleration and the burst that when I came to 100 meters, Rajesh, it's the crowd which has pulled me. The loud voice, the people have shouted, in the entire nation shouted for me, winning that. Otherwise, the crowd came to see Geeta Joshi. She won a silver medal, but the benefit came to me when they pushed me, and every step that I this one, and you see my strides. My strides, even today, I can tell you, you can measure it. This one, my strides will become a little longer than expected. Otherwise, I used to put the shorter strides and used to complete. So in the running rhythm, I never lost the concentration, and my concentration was there because there at the finish, my coach Saini was there. Lakshmanan, was, I don't know whether you remember Lakshmanan, the Southern Railway, one of the officer. So many people were doing the officiating and other thing, and they all were there. I could see them, but it slowly getting this one. So when I finished that, and I wanted to, finishing first was not a big target. The target for me, I set for myself, was wanted to run below 1 minute 47 seconds. When I turned back and when I saw 1 minute 46.81 seconds, I ran to Jaideep Singh Bharia. Sir, I did it for you. So then Indira Gandhi and other people were, so happy. So India got a medal and other things.
Okay. So how was it then after that, the reaction of all the officials and everyone after the race? And because there were current Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, future Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, the Prime Minister of India, everyone was there. So how was it? What were the things they told you at that point of time? If you remember,
if I be very, very honest with you, I didn't know what is happening. I ran, I won. I knew Jaideep Singh Bharia. I knew Mr. Bhutta Singh, because he was a president. I knew. So it is just a, congratulations and well done. I think people are overjoyed. In fact, there are a lot of people threw, 50 rupees, 20 rupees, 100 rupees. They just put it in my hand. Okay.
Oh.
And I was, okay, see, that is a typical, we have, with the joy, a lot of people gave me some money. Okay. So when I went to put on my tracksuit, saying that I had collected somewhere around, say, 800 to 1,000 rupees or something. So then it was a good incentive. I don't know who gave me, to be very honest with you, but it is the people who were this one. Of course, thereafter there were so many other races were there, and I think so. I had to follow certain protocol. After racing, you have to go for dope test. After that, you have to go for the victory ceremony, another thing. So there was a time. So I was given 5 to 7 minutes. So I was told to take a victory lap, and thereafter the entire stadium stood in this one, and all the thing. It was a joyful moment, but believe it or not, nothing was planned. It's not a planned one. It came automatically.
For this race, you also battled injuries. Just tell us about, rehabilitation program is one, but how did the mind training help you to overcome these injuries?
See, to be a champion, first thing that I would like to tell all the runners in your this one, never lose your heart to be unsuccessful. Every race cannot be won by you, but every race can give you a lesson. 1982 was a great year for me, but lot of injuries lot of lot of other things it came in between. But I never allowed to play around with me, whether injury, whether it's a diet, whether it's a competition, whether it is a clothing, or whether it is any type of facilities that we are doing. But that mindset should be very clear on your mind. Injuries are part of a sportsman's life. Every sportsman has to go through the injury. I went through an injury 1983, and I went to with the government support, with the Tata support. Another thing, I went to Sweden, Stockholm, to do a arthroscopic surgery. What made me to be a good human being? I mean, at that time I was a 23, 25 years old boy. Whatever the money I received from them, and I could save something. When I came back and returned to Government of India, they said that this is a true champion. So these are some of the characteristics that you need to identify. We need to identify within ourselves. Okay, when the injury comes, never lose your heart. When the injury comes, that's a tough time. Believe it or not, it's a good saying in English: tough time never lasts. Tough people, yes. Tough people will always overcome the difficulties. And I was a tough person. Injury, all the other things does not matter much. Okay, so injury is a part of sportsman's life. Failure is a part of sportsman's life, and success will always lead you to the highest level.
Okay. Is there anything, because you said you were one of the first athletes to take on the mind training? Was there anything from that which helped you also in the injury recovery?
See, the most important thing, even today, that we are doing about in the main training, you have to set a goal to yourself. Besides your training, as psychology, as a mind training, or yoga training, what we are talking about, you have to physically, emotionally, and lying without the ground facilities, in your bed, in your sofa, in your drawing room, in your bedroom, you must run the same race every day, every hour. I used to run, Rajesh, this competition below 1 minute 47 seconds. 1982 February, we went into the camp. Every day I used to run 10 times. March increased. I used to find time to run below 1 minute 47 seconds, and anticipating all type of different type of conditions, because 800 meters, it's a curve start, or off lane start, and other thing. There can be injuries. People can poke you very well. In 1983 in China, with the Pakistanis and some of the Chinese, they really dragged me to made injury. A lot of blood came in. That's a part of life. If because the blood came in, if I stop, I am the loser. So this is a mind training which will, in part, you need to anticipate the different conditions, different people who are running, and also you should know who are the people you are running. Maybe that you may not know by name, but you should know there are 8 people are running in the final. One person is naughty. What he will do? He will run fast. What I will do? I will follow. So these are some of the mind training helped me to overcome the difficulty when I go and face it one race on the field. But this is a mind training today, whether in shooting, whether in archery, even Tata Archery Academy when we started, or in football academy and Tata Football Academy and other things, we have this mind training, because you have to focus, you have to get that between the thin line. And that is the mind training, that because I learned from my seniors and my education institution. The mind training will teach you how to lose. When you lose, the mind training will tell you how to overcome the loss. It is not. See what happens when I lose a competition at the national level. Those days there are 2 competitions: interstate and open national. Then after, what happened on state meet? Is if you are a champion in state meet, then only you can go for the national. In the national, you have 2 chances: either interstate meet or open national. Because you lost in interstate meet, it does not mean that you will not be a winner. Okay. That is a time. That is a time that mind training will help you to improvise your capability and your sustainability. Because many of us lose heart today. What happened when we have set our own target. If I set my target, if I win it, I'm happy. If I set my target, if I don't win it, as long as if I achieve my timing, because that is very important. That's what many times that we say to many of our sportsmen, nowadays. Okay, winning is not that important. The timing will make you to be a winner, to be a podium standard. Okay. The time that you have to this one. Today, many of the Olympians that today we are talking to, many of the coaches or many of the athletes, we talk about only the performance. If your performance is good, the podium will always will come. When one moment you stand in the podium, your medal will come into your around your neck. Okay, so that it's a performance. It is make you to get the podium stand and also medal. That is the one the mind training will do. It is not that I am the gold medalist, I can stand first. It is a reverse about. Okay, the mind training is the hardest. Today we talk about this mind training. It is a 40 to 50% physical training, 30 to 40% mind training. Another 20% is a competition preparation. You have to prepare for your competition. Whether I'm a weekend runner in a marathon, a road race, or in Bangalore we have in number of races, competition every week. Everybody comes. Today I'm very happy to see such a large number of competitors come. People come, all walks of life come and participate and see the timings are good. Then they go for training. Okay, they don't. It's not the one competition that I win thereafter. It's a continuous. Make it a habit. Make it a hobby to win. To be a mind trainer. And mind training does not come overnight. You have to train, sacrifice. This is a thing today. All the runners that you in your club, all those who are listening, all those who are going to listen, it is a sacrifice that you have to do. You have to sacrifice your, time management on sleeping. You have to sacrifice the early morning, the loveliest sleep that we get. You have to sacrifice some of the food that I need to taste. I love to taste, but because that does not help me to, do better runner. Okay. These sacrifices will make you to. This sacrifice can only be done if you are strong in mind. Strong in mind by meditating, run, and think about your positive thinking. Positive thinking, another important thing, Rajesh, is a thing that today we are teaching to children, okay, in the school level, at the college level, because positive thinking is the thing which will take it forward. Today, every parent wants to make their child the best, and that they are ready to give the best facilities available. It's a child's positive energy. The mind training will make better champion.
Thank you very much for that. So I'm sure the mind training, I'm sure it takes years. You're right, absolutely right. And you have to fall down before you learn how to get up. So that is something which comes only with experience. So the current champion is Jinson Johnson, 800 meters, 1500 meters. Have you seen him running? What are your thoughts about him?
He's a great runner. He's a good running. I've spoken to him, once or twice, and I think he is a good runner for 1500 meters. Great chances if he runs sub 330, which he is capable of running. Okay, and there are he can moment he reaches to the final of 1500 meters at Tokyo, and there are chances that see this is exactly this one. He can be a podium runner, subject that see these 800 1500 meter running till last time. Again, I'm come back to this one, Rajesh. 1980, Sebastian Coe set a world record in 800 meters. Who was a champion in 1980? Moscow. He was number 2. Steve Ovett was the number 1 in 800 meters.
Yeah.
What did his Coe's father was a coach? Who did he take out his frustration? He went for 10K run. 10K run Because see what happened, many of the people, or when they are frustrated, either we go and sit in some places to have a glass of beer, another thing. But being a Britisher, what he did, he take out a frustration. He went for a 10K run, sweat it out. Okay, you prepare yourself. 1984 came in. Sebastian Coe was a favorite, but Brazilian came first and got the medal. So where I'm trying to tell you is 800, 1500 meter, it is the adaptation on that particular day and particular race. So Johnson has to adopt each and everything, recover, and be in the final of 1500 meters. This one, I think he's going to run 800 meter or 15. I think he's concentrating on 1500 meters. If he's doing that, if he's a finalist, in the final, he has to change a different strategy. Strategy to be a friend 5 runners. Out of 5 runners, there will be a 2-3 Kenyans, 1 or 2 Ethiopians. There will be 1 or 2 this one. They are the first friend. We need to be there, and we need to make sure we don't go into the box. Okay. That is important, because see, if you see my 800 meter race, I never went into the box. Why? Moment you go into the box, you get into your rhythm gets affected. Moment your rhythm get affected, your time will be affected. So Johnson's, my suggestion to him, I know the coaches are also there and I think he has to focus to reach the final in 1500 meters. 1. As he reaches the final, he has to change his strategy to be a friend runner, because he has a lot of energy. He is a very energetic fellow, very nice, hardworking. Unfortunately, he ran, in Asian Games, he lost his colleagues. Manjit Singh came first. Well, Manjit Singh came out of the blue.
Yeah.
So Johnson has to concentrate towards the final burst, because the final burst is not going to be 120 meters, and it's going to be 300 meters. In 1500 meters at Olympics, the final burst is going to be 300 meters. So you have to reserve the energy. You need not to be you have to avoid going into the box, and see, hopefully, if he runs below 3 minutes 30 seconds, should be the podium finisher.
Wonderful. I will definitely put a clipping of this, make a small clipping for him and send it across to him. He's currently, I think he's in Kunur, I think so.
Yeah.
I think they're training there. So I will tomorrow only I will do that, so that he can listen to what you have said, and maybe I'm sure he will be happy to hear about it. Such a wonderful session we are having today. I mean, we got so many suggestions from you, which is fantastic. A lot of people are very happy with what you're saying. Simon D'Souza sir is saying that a lot of good inputs for all different types of runners. So there's one question from Mr. Devan Sikwera. He's asking, what type of spikes did he use during your running career? Was it Indian made, or were you using any world class spikes?
See, first I started with the Roshan spikes, that was then available. Okay, because Roshan spikes at Patiala was all the Indian runners. But thanks to Jaideep Singh Bharia, when I was in the second year BA, when I started, the first thing, he gave me a tracksuit, foreign tracksuit, and spikes and a shoe. Okay, so I used then Adidas this one, but I am very comfortable with the Tiger or Nike spikes. Because 1982 onwards, I've been a promoter of Nike or Tiger, so they have been wonderful sponsors and other thing. So most important thing is I started with the Roshan spikes, Indian spikes. Okay, but the day 1 I ran with the spikes. Okay, I never ran any race without the spikes. Okay. So that is 1. 2, Indian spikes, yes. Later on, when I could get an opportunity by the people really helped me to get the spikes, and I never bought any spikes with my own money. Okay, it was when I went to Patiala, when they gave me a spikes. When I went for the World University Games, they gave me a spikes and other things. So that's the way. It's a Tiger spikes or Nike spikes, which I feel comfortable. In 82 Asian Games, I won with the Tiger spikes because Tiger was a major sponsor for Indian team. 1984, I ran with the this one Nike spikes.
Nike. Okay.
Nike. So because I was in Los Angeles for almost for 6 months, so I was in the group of Carl Lewis, Sebastian Coe, all these people. We were Nike sponsored, and I think so that's the way that I become this one.
Fantastic. So, currently you are also involved in the selection committee for Athletics Federation of India. So, there's one question which I wanted to ask. If you want to select an athlete, apart from performances, what are the other things you actually look for?
See, basically, in the selection committee, as a selector, we do not interfere in the training program or something. Once it comes, we observe, we come back, we see in athletics, it's very easy to select an athlete. There is a timing being set. Those who have the consistent in timing, easy to select. Okay, Randhawa Saab has been a great. He has been there for last 15, 20 years as a chairman of the selection committee and other thing. So most of the time these people are there and other. But in athletics, selection committee is not that important. It's not like a cricket. You need to push a batsman or bowler or something. Here, the timing, the distance speaks volume of your selection trials, because the timings are set, the targets are there. Because if you're qualified, nobody can stop. Okay. Whether the selector can go against you also. Where the coaches will play an important role, where the relay teams, which is the best 4 people to be played. That is the coach's choice. So selection committee for any individual games are not that important, to be very honest with you. But more than that, federation, sometimes they involve many of us, and we try to do whatever the best possible.
The talking to you has been, I would say, one of the best things which has happened for me in past 1 year of interviewing, because this is one of the longest interviews we have I've ever conducted, simply because there's so many things you have to say, and it is such a nice thing. I did not even see the time. But currently, I realize we are almost 1.5 hours of the interview. So I would ask my final question to you, sir. Final advice for the audience or for any upcoming athletes. What are the top 5 things you want to say to them so that they can become another Charles Borromeo?
See, to become another Charles Borromeo or better than Charles Borromeo, you need to believe in yourself. Believe that I can achieve excellence. Today, there are opportunities in the field of sports to be a professional equal to any of the qualified engineers or management trainees, to equal respect. That we can see many of our people at the cricket or tennis or badminton, PV Sindhu, anybody who have been a very sports, because of sports, they are much better off in financially, and because of the mind training. Believe in yourself that you can do. And the second thing is hard work, system-based hard work, because hard work is the only way that you go forward. The third important thing is your mind training. Mind training is a training which will make you a champion, which will also make you to accept the defeat, and from defeat how to overcome the defeat to success. The fourth important thing is you need to plan your training program. The training program, always you have to have a training program, consistency in your training, and also set up a goal, not to short term, to the longer term, so that you can achieve excellence. The fifth thing, that respect your coaches, your parents, and the people who have brought you to this level. Because if you see any of the champions, whether it's Sachin or whether it is Kapil Dev or any other this one, or we can talk about cricket, tennis, all the other people, names are not coming so easily, but all of them are respect to the coaches, respect to the parents, respect to the family. Today, whatever I am today, after my retirement, I thanks to my family, who have made me to go and spend some time with the underprivileged children, work for a lot of sports promotions, work for the what's called brand ambassador for many of the sports events. It is a family who supports you, and you need to be gratitude towards your family. So I am always grateful to my family. After 1987, when I got married, my family, my wife, my children, my relatives, always supportive of my sporting events. They trusted me, and that trust really helped me what I am today. So these are the five things that you need to make sure. And the last one that I like to say, you always remember one thing, that you are blessed, and you need to experience, you need to spend some time. People are less fortune, sometimes you must go to some of the old age home, or some places where you can find how blessed you are. That will make you to be a champion. I used to go and work with some of the leprosies during college days, some of the mentally retarded children, intellectually impaired children, and that made me to meet some of the greatest people. U.S. President, Bill Clinton. I could meet him because of the my commitment towards my special athletes as a national sport director. When I met him, these are the things will make you a better person. So it's a family commitment, family people support, and trust in yourself and trust in Almighty will make you better than the best.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been such a wonderful, time speaking to you. I know that we are practically neighbors. We stay close to each other. And after the pandemic is over, I'm sure I will be making a visit to your place just to say hello. But it's been such a wonderful session. I can't thank you enough for all the inputs you've given and all the suggestions for all the different types of athletes. Whether it comes to mind training, coming out of injury, running 800 meters, tips for Jensen Johnson, all this has been fantastic, and I must thank you very much from the bottom of my heart that you came and spent your valuable time with us, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. And if you want to say a final goodbye to your audience,
thank you so much, Rajesh. It's been a wonderful to share some of my personal experience with you, some of the things which we still more to come. But more than that, I want to be a part of your running club, and make sure many more people take up this one, because nowadays we would like to spend more money or energy on our running or our health rather than spending money on a health insurance. Okay, because after age of 60 or 70, people spend more money on a medical expenditure. Okay, if you spend in a consistent manner in your health wise, spend some time yourself and be fit, probably you can be an excellent person, and you can be a good human being, for also have a positive energy you can pass on to our Indian team, our national people. Because many people always ask me these questions, why you're so positive? Because I think things are positive, and positivity is the greatest thing. Many times I know I want to run sometime 5 kilometers, 7 my knee does not permit me to do that, but I complete with the walk, jog, and I think enjoy my life. Enjoying your life is the greatest joy, that happiness which will everybody can get. God bless all of you, and I wish each and every one of you all the best, and be safe. Take care. God bless.
Thank you so much, sir. Please be in the studio. I'll just come back to you. I'll just thank my audience. Thanks for your time, sir. So thank you, everyone. It's been fantastic talking to Charles Borromeo, sir. The next interview coming up for the next weekend is an international ultra marathon runner. His name is Jeff Browning. He is coming in. He's actually famous also as a coach to Mr. Mike McKnight, who's also an ultra marathon runner. So one ultra marathon, with an international runner, a session for all of you. I hope you will join me for next Friday. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been wonderful. Thank you for your love and affection as usual. And we hope that we can keep this channel alive with a lot more interviews. Thank you very much.